Hello, this is Belinda. I'm back today to share with you my collection of supplies that I'm going to be using for my 2019 December daily album. This is quite a wide shot, so I apologise. You can see some of the extra stuff around my desk, but that's just so that I can fit this large collection of things here into the frame. So this year I actually ordered an album from Felicity Jane, and it's in this beautiful bag, and it's a really gorgeous like leather look album with the polka dots. This is something very different for me. I have used Ali Edwards chipboard albums, I think they're chipboard, up to this point. So this is a very different kind of album, and I am looking forward to a bit of a change. The only thing is it doesn't have a book plate on it, which I don't totally love. I have ordered some book plates online from a store on Etsy, and then once they arrive I'll just see whether or not I'm going to be able to adhere it to the back of that album. If not, I'll figure something out. It's not such a big deal. So I'm just quickly going to show you here. This is just everything that I have so far for December daily. So I'm just going to quickly run through everything that I have here, and then I'm going to go away and I'm actually going to create my little kit and set it all up, and then I will come back and show you that once it's all done. So to start off with, I have pulled a few things out of my stash. Oh, we don't need that. I have pulled a few things out of my stash. I had this really old little envelope thing which came from Anthropology when I shopped there at one point, when I think this was from an online order after I'd been to the US. So I might use that because it's quite a nice little pocket. I've got some gold foiled tabs from Heidi Swap, which I found in my stash, and I thought I'd pop those in. This little TV wood veneer, which I think is from an old Ali Edwards story kit, and just some tabs and mini gold doilies. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. I purchased this year from Kaisercraft this collection, which is Peppermint Kisses. I don't know how much of this I'm actually going to put into my December daily kit. This might just go off into my Christmas scrapbooking supplies stash, but I'll have a look through it, and if there's anything there that I really like, I will put it in my little kit for this year. Actually, most of these are going to be for my daughter, for her to do her little bit of Christmas scrapbooking. So I'll put those over here. Some little stars that I found. Again, don't know if they'll go in, but we'll see. I thought these were really cute. I do love holly berries, even though we don't actually have holly here in Australia, so I might put a few of those in. These treat bags were gorgeous. I do love everything vintage Christmas, so I picked those up from Spotlight on when they had a discount going. So I'll probably use those. Some of those, maybe one of each. Now this box here is basically, it's an old shipping box, and I'll turn it this way. It's basically filled with all of the leftovers that I kept from previous years of December daily. I won't go through it all, but in here I've got lots of Felicity Jane stuff because I ordered the Felicity Jane kit last year, but I didn't actually end up using a lot of it. The colour wasn't really what I was going for last year, so I have got most of that Felicity Jane kit from last year in here. I've got all kinds of different fabrics which I'd purchased at Spotlight when they were on sale after Christmas. I really don't know that I'm going to use any of those, but we'll see. There's stamps, there's journal cards, there's washi tapes, there's numbers, there's all kinds of stuff. So I'll be going through all of this and figuring out what I want to use this year. I will just add, this is what's left after I culled another big box of stuff about the same size as this, which I sold. And then just today when I was tidying some stuff up, I found another box of December daily stuff that I was going to get rid of. And haven't yet. And then the last one is this Felicity Jane box here. So I did order the Felicity Jane kit this year, so all of that is in here, but there are also some extra things. This really sweet little stencil from Kaisercraft. These, I don't know if I'll use them, but I really loved, I don't know if you can see, it's like a rose gold foil pattern on them, and it is quite Christmassy, quite festive. These were actually the backings from Kmart, which is like a local discount store in Australia, a chain of discount stores. They had some Christmas headbands, and so I got quite a few of them because they were really, really nice, and I just loved the backing that they came on, so I thought I'd pop those in and just see if I wanted to use them. So like I said, I have got the entire Felicity Jane Noel kit in here, which I'm sure you can go and find many unboxings of that on YouTube if you so desire. I didn't do one because typically, being in Australia, by the time I get my kit, there's already a heap of unboxings up on YouTube, so there's not much point in me doing one. The other thing I have in here is I do have the crepe paper, some bits and pieces from the crepe paper snowflake collection. I've got the sticker sheet, the sticker book, the ephemera pieces. I do also have the chipboard stickers and the paper pad in here. I don't know how much of it I will use because we don't have a winter Christmas. We have a very hot summer Christmas, and by all accounts this one is going to be hotter than usual. But there were some Christmassy sentiments and things in there that I might use. If not, it'll go away for some winter spreads that we do. Winter spreads, layouts, something that I do. The other thing I got, which I found this at Spotlight at the start of the Christmas season, it's a die cuts with a view paper pad, and it's called Merry and Bright, and the reason it stuck out to me when I saw it was because I knew that I had the Felicity Jane, I think it was called the Holly kit from 2018, and I knew what the colours were in that, and when I saw this I was instantly drawn to it because I just thought it matched the colours of that Felicity Jane kit from last year so well. It's got some really nice gold foiling through it, lots of pinks, greys, really muted colours, so I definitely had to have that, and I'm sure I'm going to be using a lot of that in my kit when I put it together. So that's what I'm starting from. There are a lot of supplies, way more than I need as usual, and I was trying to be a little bit restrained about what I bought this year, but yeah. So that's what I'm starting with. I will go away now and I will pull everything apart, and I will figure out what I'm going to actually use in my albums. My album this year is going to be, I hope, a little bit simpler than it has been in previous years. So I'm going to put together a little kit of supplies that will hopefully reflect that and allow me to keep it simplistic. So I will go away and I'll get all that organised, and then I will come back and share with you what I have put together. Okay, I'm back. I have been and sorted through those 2 huge boxes of supplies, and I have added a few extra bits and pieces from my stash, and I've settled on this. So this is the collection, or this is the kit that I'm going to be pulling from to put my album together, and I'll just go through all of it for anyone who may be interested. I picked up these really gorgeous little Christmas tree shaped dishes from Kmart in Australia. It came in a set of 2, and I thought that it would be perfect for storing like little embellishments and things like that. Sorry, this is a really awkward angle for me to be filming from. Sorry if I get things out of the frame, I do apologise. Yeah, so I thought this would be really cute for storing some embellishments in, and that's exactly what I've got here. So I've gone through I had die cut packs from this year's Felicity Jane Noel kit and last year's Holly kit, and I've just gone through and I've picked out the pieces that I think I'm going to use this year, and I've popped them all into this little dish along with some of the grey felt stars that came in last year's kit. There's also the pack of little photo corners that came in this year's kit, and just some other little bits and pieces that I had left over from previous years. So all of the die cutty small embellishment things have gone in here. This beautiful green depression glass dish was actually gifted to me from some people that my parents met while they were travelling. So they live in Festus, and my mum told them how much I love green depression glass, and they gave her this this little dish to give to me, which was very, very kind. So I'm using it to store some embellishments. These are some circle, hopefully that will come into focus there. There we go. These are some little circle, they're kind of like a chipboard pieces. There was some came in the kit this year, and then I still had some which were from, I'm pretty sure, try and get those into frame. I'm pretty sure these ones here came from the Joy kit, which would have been 2 years ago. Anyway, they're really cute. Lots of different sentiments on them. Keeps losing focus. Lots of different sentiments on them, so I'll probably use quite a few of those. I've also got some wood veneer pieces in here, and the little collection of trees that came in the kit from Felicity Jane this year. So that's gone into that little dish, and I've got space for just throwing some other little bits and pieces in. This is a jar that I got from IKEA last year. It came in a set of 3, and I thought it was just a really cute way to store some small embellishments. So I haven't got anything in it yet, but last year, if you watch any of my process videos last year, you would have seen that I had gone and cut out a whole bunch of small glitter stars and popped them into one of these dishes, these little jars last year. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go away and cut some more glitter stars to put into that jar to use this year, because I know that I'm always going to use glitter stars. I left this just as it is. It's just the little container of holly and some jingle bells, so I'll probably use those. In this dish here, I have got just some really small embellishments. So I've got this little jar of stars, which came in the Felicity Jane kit from last year. And there's also a little jar of trees, which was from last year's kit. This year, in this year's kit, there was this little jar of gold stars. I don't really know if I'm going to use these as an embellishment, because I don't know if you can going to be able to see it there. They are quite chunky, and I've always found that with acrylic pieces. I love the idea of them, but they're very chunky, and so I don't often use them in my albums. I picked up these red paper clips, mini paper clips from Felicity Jane this year. And then I've also made a couple of sequin mixes. I have 2 big trays of sequins, and I just use those to create my own little sequin mixes now, because it's quite expensive to get sequin mixes shipped over from the US, so I tend to make my own. Really lots of red and white, so that's my first little mix that I've made. This second one's kind of cute. It's got some Santa shapes in it, and just some different gold stars and some little white sequins. And then this is kind of like a peppermint candy kind of mix. I was going to add more to it, but I actually really liked the way it looked with just those red sequins and the white sprinkles. I thought that was really cute. So that's my sequin mixes. I do love adding little shaker windows and shaker pockets into my albums. Push all of those to the side. Okay, and then I've got my fabulous IKEA, I think it's called Fiala. I don't believe this design is available anymore at IKEA, certainly not at the IKEA that I shop at in Perth, but they do have white ones that are still available, and also different colours. It's such a great size for organising supplies for projects like this, because you can get your 12 by 12s up here in the back section, and you can also get your little bits and pieces at the front. So I will show you what I've got. In this one here, I've just got all of my little trims and things like that. I've got all of my washi tapes, so I've just picked out, I have so much Christmas washi, and I've just picked out a few So those are the ones that I'm going to be going with. In the past, I've had a heap of washi in my kits, and I just don't use it because I do use it, but I don't use all of it. So I wanted to make sure that I wanted to try and make sure that the suppliers that I've chosen are a little bit more limited this year, so that I'm not tempted to go way too far over the top. In this little pocket here, I've got sort of tags and tabs. So I think I showed you these tabs in the beginning. These were just pulled from my stash. A couple of different types of tabs there. I also had these really cute gold glitter like mini doilies. So I've got those popped in there as well. And then these tags have come from the Felicity Jane kits over the last 2 years. So I've got just a black and white stripe, the Christmas tree, Hello Christmas. This is from this year's kit, so this bit at the bottom pulls off. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to use those yet, but I popped them in there. And more black and white stripes, Joy, really simple. Yeah. So I'm going to try and use a few of those tags in my kit, in my album this year. That's in that little front pocket there. In this pocket here, I've pulled out of my stash some embossing powders that I know I'm going to use. I've used this Wow, it's vintage candy cane, and I've used it I think for my last 3 albums, certainly my last 2 albums. I absolutely love it. I don't have a lot left in this jar. I do have another jar in with all my embossing powders, so I really want to get this one used up so that I only have 1 instead of 2. And then I've just got a couple of different golds, a nice glittery gold, and then the Tim Holtz gold. I've got some alpha stickers which I pulled out of my sticker stash. This one here, I'm not quite sure where it came from, but it's just a really simple small alpha. And then these 2 are fairly new from Kelly Stamps. This is the Loco Street alpha. I love, yeah, I just really love it. I think it's going to be really interesting to use. And then this one here is the Park Street alpha. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. You're probably not going to see it here, but it's got, each letter is kind of divided in half, and it's got some stripes on it. So it's a really nice effect for a Christmas album because it's kind of got that candy cane vibe to it. I'll pop those back there. Okay, in this pocket back here, I've got just some little random bits and pieces. I've got those honeycomb trees which came with the holly kit last year. I do have an idea of something that I want to do with one of those. I don't know if I'll use all 3, but we'll see. The vellum, the faux vellum, or the vellum faux pockets. A little glassine bag that the trim came in, and inside this little glassine bag are a couple of really tiny little glassine envelopes, which you can't really see properly, but I'll try and find a way to use those in my album. And these really awesome little cardstock dividers came in the kit this year, and I think they're really cool. So this one it's just like a half circle with a really nice pattern on it. This is just a regular, I think it's a 3x8, but some nice gold foiling on it. And this one here I'm really excited to use. So it's a little pocket, but it sits this way, so the holes are here. And yeah, I'm really excited to use that. I think that's going to be fun. Pop those ones back. In this next pocket here, I've got all of my small number stickers. So I've grabbed a red, a light pink, a black, a white. There's a larger white. I've also got some alphas, which I've pulled from my stash. Some reds. I used some of these candy stripe from LS Studio last year, and so I want to use some more this year. Then I've got the large chipboard numbers that came from the Felicity Jane kit last year. The Puffy Alpha, which actually came from the Harper kit, which is the most recent Felicity Jane kit. It's the November 2019 kit, but I thought it would be perfect for my December Daily album. That's the puffy alpha that came with the Noel kit this year. This year. Just getting so confused now. And then I've got some more like add-in elements, I guess, for my album. There's that envelope from Anthropology. I did pull out 2 of those little treat bags and put them into my kit. These cardstock inserts were from the kit last year and I didn't use them. So this is an open flap insert and this is a little pocket insert. So I'm sure I'll find ways to use those. I also, as much as I love these acetate pieces that go into the kits, it seems that I hoard them, so I really want to make use of them this year as dividers. So I've just picked out some from this year's kit, some that were from last year's kit, and I think I even have some here from some previous Ali Edwards kits that I've been hoarding. So I definitely want to make use of those next year because I know that these are things that come out every year and I always want them every year, so I have to use them. I've added some tissue paper, a gold small polka dot, and a larger gold polka dot. I've got that, is it buffalo plaid, is that what it's called? The black and white plaid, which comes, that's what the Felicity Jane kit is packaged in. A larger glassine bag. I've got some, what are they called? Silk screens, paint screens. They're from previous Ali Edwards kits. And then I've got just a couple of little templates. I've got a holly leaf one, this big gorgeous star one which is from Paige Evans, which will be perfect, and that little foliage one which was from Kaisercraft. Pop all those back in. I'll sort them out later. And then, now I might have to move my camera up a little bit for you to see this. Okay, yeah, sorry, I had to move the camera up a little bit, otherwise you weren't going to see it. So in this back section here, I've got my little binder, which is a Simple Stories 6x8 binder, and it has all of my Christmas stamp sets in it. So I've got that doesn't fit, so I keep that out separately. So I just use the 4x6 divided page protectors, and I just pop each of the stamp sets in there. So I've collected these over the last, I think, 4 or 5 years, and that's all my Christmas stamps. So I usually just keep them in that binder, and then I know they're all in the one place and they're easy to find. And then up in this back section I've got an assortment of things. So I've got some glitter paper, some gold glitter paper, and I also picked out like a really pale pink kind of glitter paper because I've got a lot of pinks in my kit, so I think that will go really well. I also have this foil paper pad which is from Kaisercraft, and I think that could be good to do some die cutting with because I do have some Christmas dies. I've got a large white alpha which is very old from Ellie's Studio. I don't think that they make these anymore, but I bought up big. I bought all kinds of colours and I bought lots and lots of sheets, so I'm going to use those. I have a couple of sheets of vellum. I usually do a lot of see-through, or I like to do a lot of see-through elements in my December daily albums, and I realised that this year I don't actually have any 3x4 transparency cards, so I've got plans to use vellum instead, and I've got some ideas already about what I'm going to do with that. I also have just a really big stack of Nina 8.5 by 11 cardstock. Excuse me. This is from one of the paper pads. It's a 12 by 12 cut apart sheet with lots of Christmas tags on it. I don't know which ones I'm going to use or if I'm going to use them. I also like the pattern on the back of it, which is why I haven't actually cut it apart. I'm just going to leave it in there, and if and when I want to use one of those tags, I'll cut them apart then. And it is the same thing with this sheet. Now hopefully I can get you to see it. It does have this beautiful rose gold foiling all over it, and lots of borders, some little labels there, so when I'm ready to use them I'll cut them apart, but otherwise I'm just going to keep it as is. I have just some textured, let's see, probably not going to be able to see that. It's the polka dot textured cardstock. It's not quite white, it's an off-white, but I think it'll be okay to use in this album. It's not my favourite shade of white, but I want to use it up, so I'll put it in the album. Then I have some acetate pieces which I've pulled from my stash. I've got these white numbers, some gold foil stars, this gorgeous gold glitter polka dot. Now, I don't know how many of these acetate sheets are still available in stores, but looking at them, I think if you have a mink, if you have some embossing powders, if you can get hold of some heat resistant acetate, they would be really easy to make yourself if you wanted to do that. I've also got two 12 by 12 sheets of vinyl, a red one and a gold one. I don't know, I might do something with those. I have got just some regular acetate, and like I said, I do like those see-through elements, so I might end up doing something with the vinyl and the acetate. So that's it for that back section. Okay, now I have this little red box which is very, very old. It's been sitting in my craft room for a very long time. And I've just got, what I've got in here is I've got some, the numbers. So these are the white and gold foil chipboard numbers that came in the Felicity Jane Noel kit this year. In this little bag here, I've got leftover numbers from, I think these were from Ali Edwards last year. These are wood veneer numbers. I've got some plastic numbers and then, yeah, just some bigger numbers. So I'll pop those all in together. And then I've got my sticker type embellishments. So I've got a few different kinds of stars. Those are some glitter, gold glitter stars. Some gold foil chipboard stars. Some larger gold glitter and red glitter stars. I've got stickers which were left over from previous Ali Edwards kits, and I've picked the ones that I think will go with the kit that I'm using this year. Some from Felicity Jane. This chipboard came from the Paisley Press mini kit last year from Ali Edwards. And then the Felicity Jane stickers. So these are the epoxy stickers which came from the Holly kit last year. The Noel puffy stickers, the Holly puffy word stickers from last year, and the Noel puffy stickers from this year. Okay, so I switched back over to an overhead view to go through my little collection of cards and papers. And basically what I did was I went through all of those paper pads that I had, and I pulled out the papers that I thought matched the aesthetic that I was wanting to go for my album this year. And it was off the back of this collection of papers and cards that I put together the embellishments that I've just been through. So probably I've filmed this the wrong way around, but you'll get the idea. So I'm storing these just in one of these little square wooden boxes, which is from IKEA. It's called the Dragon or the Dragon box, and it's 6 inches across, so it's perfect for storing anything 6x4, 6x8, anything like that. So to start off with, I've got, well, I'll start those plastic sheets that I got from Kmart. I ended up trimming them down to 3x4 sizes, and I will probably use those somewhere in my album. Journaling, 3x4 journaling cards. I've got the Felicity Jane journaling cards from the last year's Holly and this year's Noel. So you can see if I fan those out a little bit. Got lots of pinks, blacks, whites, some reds, grey. Not sure if I use that green, that doesn't really go, but I have got some green here in this little Holly card. So we'll see. Lots of reds, and I think there's another green here. So you get the general idea. So my album, it's going to be quite muted this year. Previously my albums have been very, very colourful, very busy. The reality is they're probably going to be busy again this year, but I'm hoping to tone it down a little bit. And then from here I've got, so these cards have all been left over from previous kits that I've used. And again, I've gone through, I actually went through at the end of, when I finished my 2018 album, I went through my supplies and I culled everything because I knew what sort of aesthetic I was going to be going for moving forward. So I got rid of anything that didn't really fit with that aesthetic that I had in mind. So I kept lots of reds, lots of whites, and there's stuff from Ali Edwards. I think these were from Ellie's studio last year. I've got stuff from the Paisley Press mini kit from last year, and yeah, so more pinks. These here, these Today's Story cards, they were an add-on from, I don't know if you can see that properly, an add-on from an Ali Edwards kit towards the end of 2018, I think it was. So there was 31 cards. I did use some of them in my album last year, so there's not 31 anymore. But on the front they've got that Today's Story with the date down the bottom, and then on the back each of them has a different pattern. Let's see if I can get that up closer for you so you can see. A different pattern on the back of each one. They're really quite simple, quite plain patterns, but I like having that flexibility of being able to use either side of them. So I've got all of those, and then I also have these cards which were from Ellie's studio. I've just kept the reds and the greys in there, and that's that one of the Felicity Jane cards, which I don't know if I'll use because I'm never going to wear a scarf at Christmas in Australia, so that's never going to be me. There is the 3x4 cards. Onto the 4x6s. This here and this here. So there was a little online store that I stumbled across, and I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago they put out these Aussie Christmas themed products, and they were cards. So these have been cut down as in gift cards. Gift cards? Christmas cards. Cards that you would send to people. So these have been cut down. This is fantastic. It's just all of the things that are really synonymous with what it means to have an Aussie Christmas. I just haven't found a time or a reason to use it yet. Perhaps it's because it's the wrong orientation for a 6x8 album. I don't know, but I do really want to use it because I think it's just perfect for my Christmas. Same with this here. This has just got a hole. It's a really lovely word art. I did cut, so it was the card like that, and then I've cut that section off because that was the barcode. So this is where I think I might try and incorporate it somehow with one of those expanding trees from Felicity Jane. We'll see. I have had this little 4x6 card sitting in my stash for, I think, since the first year that I did December Daily. In theory it's perfect for us because it's ice creams and icy poles for Christmas. In practice I just haven't had a time to use it, so it's going to stay in my stash because I know there will come a perfect time for me to use that card, so that's why it's still there. These are all, let me just go through until I get to, yeah. Okay, so these are all the 4x6 cards that I've had left over from previous kits, and again I curated this last year to make sure that I'm only keeping the stuff that I know will fit with the aesthetic that I'm going for this year. So some rose gold foiling, lots of nice clean white, that gorgeous pink, it's like a snowflake pattern but it's not snowflakes, so I can use that. That's the 4x6s. Now I'll put those aside for now. Just a random little piece of gold glitter paper that was left over. These were a couple of 6x6 papers which I got from Felicity Jane. I think they were a freebie for subscribers last year, so I've popped those in there. This Merry and Bright and Fa La La shipping tag was, I think, a freebie an early bird freebie from Ali Edwards a few years ago, and I've used all of them up except for this one, so probably I'll try and use this one this year. So the reason I put those 4x6s aside here is because I went through both of those paper pads that I had, or all of those paper pads and the 12x12 papers that I had, and I pulled out the papers that I thought would go really well with my kit and that I wanted to include in my album this year, and then I cut them down. So what I did with most of them, where I've got doubles of the paper, so where I've got paper pads that come with 2 of each design, I've cut the entire paper pad down, and I've got 2 6x8s and 2 4x6s because they're all double-sided. So to give you an example, I cut this one down into a 6x8 and a 6x8, and then in here I will have the 4x6 and somewhere in there the 4x6. So I cut the paper pad down into 4 pieces, and then I've got the 6x8 paper and the 4x6 paper as well. So I won't go through all of these. I'll just go through my 4x6, my 6x8 papers, because that is a good way to see what I've pulled out. So again, I'm using gold foil. I've got some rose gold, I've got some regular gold, there's blacks, whites, pinks, greys, reds, lots of white. So that's got some rose gold foiling on it. That's a little bit busy. Probably I'll use that as like a backing and put some stuff at the as a mat or something, because that's a bit busy. This here has got, oh, it's really hard to see. Just lots of lines with words. That, I think that could also be good for me to cut apart and then use the lines of words individually. Just a grey buffalo check, some presents, just a nice, I don't even know what you'd call that design. They're all arrows. And the little doggies on the back. Now I only cut down one of this. I only cut a 6-inch piece of this paper because I know I'm not going to use a 6x8 of the dogs and a 4x6 of the dogs, so I only cut it down once and then I'll use one or the other. Some grey and white words. This one here has got rose gold foiling on it as well, the trees and the car. Another little grey check pattern. This is gorgeous, pink with gold foil trees. I love it. Move those to the side. Some pink and white trees. Gold foil foliage. Just a pretty simple black with some little triangles all over it. Grey background with some black and pink and white trees. And this is the same, this is actually the same pattern as this one, but this is a much more muted, it's a pink background with some white trees. Another one that is absolutely gorgeous. This one is Fa La 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 in rose gold foil on a pink background. Ooh la la, that makes me happy. Black and white trees. Love this paper. This was from the Felicity Jane kit last year. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. That foliage, so many pretty colours. So this was on the back of a striped, red and white striped paper, and when I was cutting it down I was careful to just have a look and see what words I was including. So when I've cut the paper I've made sure that you can see all of the joy, all of the sparkle, all of the December and all of the ho ho ho, and then the rest of it just frames it. There's that red and white stripe. This grey wood grain, again, not really something that I can see myself using on its own, but it could be good for a backing. The pink stripe, I can definitely see myself using. A green diamond grid pattern. Again with this one, so when you look on the back of that green diamond grid. It is just white on the back because the paper was kind of designed, well, how did it go together? Something. Anyway, there was like a stripe that went across, down and across the page. So when I cut it out, I made sure that I got that on the 6x8 page. This is like a grey, greeny colour, quite muted. I'm not a fan of green. It's my least favourite colour, but this is okay. It's kind of like a eucalyptus greeny grey, I suppose. And that's on the back of this star pattern paper. And what I realised as I was going through my Felicity Jane papers from last year is that this star pattern paper, I'm pretty sure, is what was used for the one of the album designs this year. And then the polka dot album that I've got that paper in here too. So some white large dots, another plaid, black and white plaid, some messy grey lines. Here is that polka dot, that black and white polka dot. And then I cut down one of the plain coloured papers that came in the kit. So I've got the pink and the red. And then these were the papers from this year's kit. I didn't actually use a lot of the papers from this year's Felicity Jane kit, and that's just because the colours were a bit too dark and not really what I wanted for my album this year. I have put them aside because at the moment we have plans to head to the Northern Hemisphere for Christmas next year, which means that for the first time in my life I will be experiencing a cold winter Christmas. So those dark colours will definitely be put to use in next year's album, assuming that goes ahead. So I've got this red striped paper, the poinsettia, can't go past a good poinsettia. And then this one is I think this is the only thing that I pulled out of that crepe paper snowflake paper pad. I put the rest of it away, again thinking ahead to next year. I know we'll be having a cold Christmas, so it's probably going to be more practical for next year's album. And then these are just papers that I've had left over from previous years. I've got like a green small green triangles, just a really pale minty green, pink and red candy stripe, this Let's Be Merry. It's a full 6x8 card, so hoping I can use it somewhere. Really nice little text-based paper. Some black and white trees. A black and white stripe. It's really, you're probably not going to see it properly. It's a really fine stripe. This honestly hurts my eyes to look at it. It's a really tiny plaid. Don't know how I'll use that, but I'll keep it in there. Like an art deco kind of fishtail design. This is just a really light polka dot. See that there? I think this one was from Ellie's Studio last year. It's just grey with some white typewriter print words on it. A black and white stripe. This like scripty word, I'm pretty sure that came from Paisley Press last year. And here's that same, was it Studio DIY? Maybe? No, I can't remember who the designer was, but I kept it because I'm gonna use it. At some point I'm going to use it. So that's it for my papers and my cards. The only other thing that I have is I've got a couple of digital collections which I'm planning on pulling from. Where I said I had that vellum, and I've got plans for the vellum. So I've purchased the Paisley Press December You Are My Fave kits for the last few years, and I never really use them because I forget that I have them. So what I've done this year is I've just grabbed the little preview JPEGs from Number 8, December You Are My Fave, number 8, which is this year's kit, and also December You Are My Fave, number 7, which was last year's kit. So I've grabbed the JPEG previews for all of the bits and pieces in those kits, and I've printed them out. And I'm gonna keep that with my supplies so that, because I don't have a huge amount of text-based journaling cards, a lot of the journaling cards that I have and the papers that I have are really more design-based. So I'm going to try and pull from these, and I'll print to my cardstock or I'll print to my vellum, and I'm going to use these, try and use these kits, these digital kits as well, just to add something extra. So that's it. That is all of my supplies that I'm going to be using. I am planning on filming my process as I put this album together. I'm planning on doing that at the moment. What I'm not sure about right now is whether I'm going to be working on my album through the month of December, or whether I'm just going to be documenting my stories and taking my photos and then putting my album together in January. I haven't decided on that yet, but if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe, and that way you will know when I've got more videos uploaded, and you will see what I'm doing for my December daily, whether I've decided to do it in December or do it in January. Thank you for sticking with me. I know this is a very, very long video. I hope you've enjoyed looking at my supplies, and I hope that you are really looking forward to documenting your December as I am. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.